Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to adjust your chain slack on your KTM 390 Duke. This is a 2018. We have a spindle nut here that we're going to have to loosen up utilizing a 22mm socket and some kind of breaker bar. We have an adjustment retainer nut that's a 14mm. You're going to need an open end wrench of some kind or combination wrench. And then the adjustment screw is going to be a 10mm, and we'll use that to adjust. The other side of the spindle, and I'll show you here in a second, is a 17mm bolt that goes all the way through the spindle, and basically that's your rear axle. You're also going to need some kind of ratchet for snugging things up, a tape measure to measure the actual slack in the chain, and in my case I need an adapter, and then some kind of torque wrench. You always want to have a torque wrench on handy. Now the service manual for this procedure is going to be put down in the description for you guys, so you can look this procedure up yourself. But I'm going to go ahead and show you in a how-to video, for all intents and purposes, to kind of save you a little bit of time, but it's always worth a good read. Check the service manual for sure. We're also going to cover torque specs, and we'll cover the feel method. That being said, let's roll right into it. I'm going to take these off. I'm going to put the 22mm on there, on the breaker bar, and let me show you the opposing side. So on this side you have a 17mm bolt that goes all the way through, and we'll be holding that steady while we crack the other one loose. Alright, so I got my 3/8 breaker bar, I got my 1/2" breaker bar, and I'm just going to crack it loose. Now I want it loose enough so I can make the adjustment. Now I wish I had a bike stand. I really do. I have one for a dirt bike. That's not going to help me in this situation. So just like you guys, I'm using the kickstand. Alright, so that's pretty loose. Now we're going to need to loosen up our adjustment retainer nut. And it shouldn't take too much effort. I'm going to hold the adjustment screw steady while I do that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, back that off a little. Alright, now I'm going to lay down here for a second, but I'm going to show you how we're going to adjust this. So, on the guardrail here, it has a measurement. It gives you the specification right out of the service manual, right on the guardrail. And it's between 0.2 and 0.3 of an inch. Basically around 1/4 of an inch. However, it doesn't tell you on the guardrail how to check that adjustment, because looking at the chain as it is, you'd be like, wow, that's a lot of free play. But what the service manual suggests is you push right here where it says, so there's 3 X's, you have 1, 2, 3 within the arm. And right here in the middle is where you're taking your measurement from. And how you do that is you push the chain up taut with the arm. And if there's not at least 1/4 of an inch or so of gap in between your chain and that arm, we need to adjust. That's what the service manual suggests, which would explain why I have so much slop. So now what I'm going to end up doing is we're going to turn the adjustment screw counterclockwise. But we're going to pay close attention to in here where the blocks are. There's little tiny blocks. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. See the other blocks? And I've marked this with a paint pen. So I'm going to begin adjusting the adjustment screw back a little bit and then do so evenly on the other side. Then we'll check our tension. Alright, so counterclockwise to push the axle back, clockwise to push the axle forward. So we're going to go counterclockwise. So I'm going to pull this back here. I'm getting pretty taut. I don't want too much. So let me adjust the other side real quick. Another way you can make sure that you've adjusted it equally on both sides is to count the amount of threads that are left on this adjustment screw compared to the other one. So let me see here. I need to go a little more. I feel like that's almost going to be too tight. Oh, you know what? We might need to loosen it. That's why. Maybe that's why I have more threads than I wanted. I'm going to count this again. It's a little loose. There's a quarter. So that's pretty much within range from what I'm looking at. So let me count these threads again. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 thread. Okay. Looks weird as shit. Let's fucking get that out of the way for a minute. Okay, let's measure that adjustment one more time. So 1, 2, 3 in between. We're looking for 1/4 of an inch to just barely above 1/4 of an inch while pushing the chain up. I feel like I could either go a little tighter or we're right in the money. I feel like I should go a little tighter. 1/4 inch right there, push up. You know what? I'm really close. It's right there at about 1/4 of an inch. Like spec says. I could go a little tighter, but that's about it. Alright, sorry guys, I know it's getting dark. Let's just go ahead and start torquing stuff down. I'm going to call that 1/4 inch. Now what we're going to do with the 10 millimeters, we're going to hold our adjustment screw in place so we can tighten up the adjustment screw retaining nut. So I'm going to come down to where it's snug, just as it barely feels like it's going to turn the adjustment screw. And holding the adjustment screw still, just going to snug it down like that. We do the same thing on the other side real quick. Same process over here. Hold the adjustment screw. Now remember, this is only like 5.7 foot-pounds, I think. 5.6. So you don't got to get too crazy with it. Okay? Alright. Now we need to torque our spindle nut, which is going to be about 72.3 foot-pounds. Now this is a 3/8 torque wrench. I told you guys I was going to need the adapter. We need the 22 millimeter socket again. And we need our 17. And I'm going to hold the backside bolt through for the axle. And I'm going to turn the spindle nut to torque with the torque wrench. And now we're on our kickstand, so we got to be careful we don't lift up too much on our bike. But we want to make sure it's torqued down good. Come on, baby. All right. 72 foot-pounds. I'm good with that. Alright, now every time you get done completing the repair, it's crucial you go on a road test. So let's get on the bike, go for a quick road test out front. We want to look, listen, feel, all that stuff. So obviously it's going to be a little bit difficult to look because you're riding, but you can listen and you can try to feel as you're riding to make sure everything's on the up and up. Another thing you're going to want to do too is you're going to want to jounce the bike a little bit. Get on it, sit on it, kind of jounce up and down a little bit, you know, get the bike to fully seat in, but everything's torqued down properly. You shouldn't have any problems. If you have any questions about it, look at the service manual. I'll put it down in the description for you. Now I'm going to get on the bike, I'm going to go for a road test, we're going to feel it out, and we're done. So, alright, so really look, listen, feel the bike. Feel the bike. Make sure nothing's off, nothing feels wrong. I mean, it's your life on the line, and if you're working on your buddy's bike, it's your buddy's life that's on the line. So you really want to look, listen, and feel everything that's going on with the bike. You want to make sure that nothing seems off. If something seems off, you need to turn around, take it back to the garage, take it back to your shop, wherever it is that you're working, and double check all your work, everything. Because seriously, this is a dangerous profession, you know, working on things that put people's lives in jeopardy. I do it every single day, and I'm always double checking, triple checking. I've even quadruple checked. So keep in mind.